Hey, do you like coffee? Do you like gourmet coffee? Do you like really amazing gourmet coffee that's a total steal and just happens to be based on a culinary podcast? Well, look no further. The Coarse podcast has teamed up with the Mr. G Coffee Company to create the perfect custom blend. Dark as the logo itself with hints of caramel, sea salt, and dark chocolate, it is luxury in a cup at an incredible price. Be sure to check out their site today, MrGCoffee.com, and order some now.
Hello, this is Chef Keelan Steininger, your favorite black-eating badass from CWC, the restaurant, and Station Family and Barbecue. Also on Top Chef, I sucked ass at it, don't ask. But I'm totally excited to get to talk to Shawn Rosler on the Coarse podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 96 of the Coarse Grind podcast with you as always this evening. Host creator Shawn Rosler, how's everyone doing? You know, we're back after what really feels like, to me anyway, a really, really long break. Those of you who've been paying attention know that it's all ramping up to episode 100. We'll be recording live from the Study Bar in downtown Bloomsburg here, Friday, May 24th at 7:30. All proceeds benefit the Bloomsburg Food Cupboard, so there's lots to do, lots of work there. Special co-hosts in the mix. I let the one out of the bag. Beth Aretsky, Grill Bitch from Kitchen Confidential, will be joining me on stage. And there's one more to come out of the bag, so more to come on that. So anyway, lots to do, lots of work. But last I checked, and I can't typically be trusted with numbers, I've got 4 episodes that we've got to get in the can before we get there. And if you think I'm going to take it easy, you'd be sadly mistaken. Not at all like if you assume that about house cleaning and me. So anyway, as luck would have it, I've not picked the talent dry from this past season of Top Chef. Far from it, actually. And one of this season's standouts, who just happens to be from my fair Pennsylvania, just happened to be kind enough to say yes. Or was that merciful? I'm not sure either way. Tonight's guest is currently chef de cuisine at Laurel, a French-inspired new American restaurant in South Philadelphia, from Top Chef winner Nicholas Elmy. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, where he attended Mercy Vocational High School and studied culinary arts. He realized at a young age that being in the kitchen made him feel like he was finally a part of something. After he graduated, our guest attended Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island, where he met his wife and many other close friends within the culinary field, who he still works with today. He has worked in many influential restaurants in New England and across the Mid-Atlantic, including Del Posto in New York City and the Bec Fin back home in Philadelphia. With training in Italian and French techniques, this chef focuses on refined, ingredient-driven cuisine. He's always strived to improve his own skills as well as provide an educational environment for his fellow chefs and employees. And as a father, our guest is a natural teacher and mentor to those who work around him. His focus on creating experiences for his guests is always at the core of his culinary work. Beyond all that, and from everyone I've spoken to thus far, he's a solid guy and an awesome dad. And you can't really ask for much more than that, can you? Maybe lamb loins instead of the racks, but, you know, who's counting? Was that too soon? Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, our guest this evening, Chef de Cuisine of Laurel Restaurant, Top Chef Kentucky standout, and, most importantly, Dad, Chef Eddie Konrad. Chef, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, thanks for having me on.
Oh, not a problem at all, man. I had to, you know, I think there are certain chef testants who are known for certain things, and I fear my biggest memory of you from the show was you getting the happiness ingredient basket. You know, that was a little, you know,
a little jab.
Yeah.
I remember when they looked over, I went, I bet you I get happiness. They told me that. I was like, yeah, fuck all you guys. You know, I knew immediately. I was like, you guys are jerks.
I'll put a smile on my face for you. I'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and do it.
I'll do you a little dance.
Yeah. So anyway, Chef Eddie Konrad, you couldn't be happier to have you here. Thank you so much for doing the show. Folks new to the program, folks who've been listeners for all 95 previous episodes and have horrible short-term memories, like myself. Starters, mains, and afters. Starters, we're going to talk about where the guests came from, how they got to where they're at. Mains, we're going to talk about where they're at and what they're doing. And finally, afters, a little bit more irreverent, a little more off the cuff, but no one has been injured in 95 straight episodes, so I don't see it happening tonight. So without further ado, Chef Eddie Konrad, tell me about where and what you grew up eating.
Well, so I guess, let's see here. Well, when I was a kid, I didn't, it's funny, there was always, I'm Polish and Italian, right? But, so I grew up eating well during the holidays, like Easter and Christmas and stuff like that. But overall, my family was a busy, stereotypical American family. We tried to sit down as much as we could. Nobody was, my father's a really good cook, my mother's a pretty good cook, but, it was never a huge thing, unless it was a holiday or some kind of family function. Then it was a big blown out kind of feast, But outside of that, like I've said before in interviews, I was I didn't grow up in a kitchen, I guess I did in some way, some capacity, but not I'm not rolling meatballs under the counter or something. You know what I mean? I'm right. It's just a stereotypical, American,
Right.
Busy family, blue collar family.
Yeah.
I just always had an interest in food. My family always, my mother and father always loved food and was interested in it. Whether or not they could do it that well was a different story. But watching the Food Network and watching things like that, Emerald Live, Iron Chef, they loved watching that stuff. So I kind of grew up just kind of with a respect for it. Coming, and also my great grandfather was a chef, so the whole family just had a respect for it.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, I mean, so you had it in your blood, and I think being from Pennsylvania, I think there is that relation where if it's the holidays, it's balls to the wall, but otherwise, both parents are running in different directions, and
Exactly.
you hope to get some table time, but it's not necessarily indicative of the emotional connection. That's awesome. What kind of eater was Eddie Konrad growing up? Were you adventurous?
Actually, I was pretty adventurous. I mean, I would try anything. And my father was always you have to try it at least once. You gotta give it a shot. So I grew up eating pretty well. I'm on my Polish side, I grew up eating blood sausage as a kid, for breakfast. Kishka is basically a Polish pork blood sausage with pork liver, pork blood, buckwheat ground. So to me it was normal, but then I was already eating kind of out there, I guess, so to speak. So
yeah.
I've always had an open mind. There's only one thing I really have a hard time getting myself to do, and it's eat an eyeball. That's one thing I have a really hard time with, and insects.
Eyeballs and insects. You heard it here. If Eddie's coming to dinner, steer clear.
Yeah.
And if that insect has eyes, you're double fucked. So.
Outside of that, I've eaten pretty much every part of the animal, and So yeah, I'm pretty open.
Awesome, man. And that Polish backdrop, there haven't been a whole lot of guests where I can relate to that. Not that I come from a Polish background, but son of a bitch, if you say pierogi, halushki, that speaks to your soul in a way I can't. But I'm waiting. Eric did the West African cuisine. I want to see Polish American hit the skids. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think there's a lot of space for it too. Yeah. And I mean, it's funny too because since I'm interested in it, I've done tons of research or amateur research on it. But I've never been. I'd love to go, but from my understanding is that Polish food at one time, pre-war communism, whatever. I mean, it was like the Paris of Poland, Warsaw.
Yeah.
So it was half. There was Italian rulers, and so it's basically French and Italian, the cuisine itself.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting cuisine, and I think that it does have a lot. It has a lot in common with American food as far as Poland being people going in and out and being conquered, over left and right. So it's kind of a melting pot, just like American food, but heavy on the Slavic influences with the heavy, rich, deep soul food, which is I really enjoy.
Definitely.
And that's why I wanted to do when I did the Gołąbki challenge or when I did the Dario challenge. I thought that was the perfect time to show some kind of, let's say, contemporary Polish.
Yeah. I truly, I think it's there for the taking for you, man.
Yeah, maybe that's what, but here's my problem is that I'm not the kind of guy that's going to, like, start, I can't, I feel like if I'm going to carry a flag, I need to do it right, and I've never been, and it's not, so, like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I'm a Polish chef, you know what I mean?
Right.
I have a hard time, like, overall, people ask me what my cuisine is. I'm American. That's why I say ingredient-driven, because that's the main, for me, that's the biggest, most important thing is the ingredient itself, It doesn't matter what stuff you're using. It could be Chinese, Japanese. It doesn't matter. It's just are the techniques you're using applicable to what you're trying to do as far as making something delicious.
No,
so it doesn't have to be a cuisine necessarily. It's just, are you doing the right things for what you're trying to make?
Exactly. And I think at this point too, I mean, from my very lightly, educationally steeped experience as compared to everyone else I talk to on the show, I think there's been so much cross-pollination at this point that, can a culture truly claim an ingredient at this point? 2019, I think they've been borrowed and, can we say it was the origin story from them? Sure. But can it be strictly theirs anymore? I don't know.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. No, and that's exactly, that's how I feel. Is like, at this point, like, you think about it, and this might be kind of a loose analogy, but if you think about, let's say, 10, 20 years ago, when, let's say, Fran Adria and, her piece and all these guys started, like, making all this, quote-unquote, molecular gastronomy thing, and it was, whatever, sous vide and bubbles and
agar
and emulsions,
Yep.
Exactly. So everybody gets over, it's like this huge thing, it's kind of coined as this whole package of molecular, gastronomy or whatever. And then as you move on, those techniques are assimilated into a vast range of techniques, and then it just becomes modern food in general. It just kind of gets watered down and dispersed throughout the lexicon of techniques, So in reality, it's the same thing with cuisines. At this point where we're at, it's all about being respectful to culture, borrowing things from every culture, and respecting the ingredients, in my eyes.
No, I like you said, I couldn't agree more. I think ingredient driven is the way to be, and you just happen to be that way, sir. So, way to be on point with with what should be the trend, I suppose. Looking back to this childhood, this what I perceive to be traditional Pennsylvania childhood, like that's what I think we kind of all grow up with, some kind of variation thereof. And we'll probably end up focusing here on the holidays, because I know for me, there's holiday foods that just stick out from my childhood. Like, I'll never have them again, as good as they were, or at least as good as I remember them. Talk to me about what foods those are for you.
Like, well, I mean, it would be more so my Polish side than my Italian side. So again, it's like the galupkis, the kibasi, the kishka, like on Easter when there's this huge spread of like the horseradish with beets and braised beets, and like I love that. It's comforting, it's warm, it's honest. Those foods are just like, if you just take it like you just take a sausage and you sear it and you add some like really hot horseradish and some mustard, and I'm like, I couldn't be happier.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better.
Really,
if you
really isn't like.
Yeah, if you want to know who's really from Pennsylvania, you ask them hot dog or kielbasi, and if they hesitate, you don't need that negativity in your life. A kielbasi split down the middle, seared on a flat top.
Yep.
You run that horseradish down the gut.
Yep.
Sauerkraut if you're going there, and some like jacked ass mustard on top of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. It needs like the mustard and or horseradish needs to hurt a little, and it's just like it brings me right back to being a kid.
Yep.
My dad telling me, "Oh, it's good. It's gonna make it's good for you.
Make you strong and put hair on your chest, Daddy."
Yeah. You take a bite of it and you like black out for a second.
That's right. That's right. And if that skin doesn't snap, you did it wrong. Your teeth, it should be like hearing a whip crack when you pierce that tubular. What was it Bourdain said? Meat in tube form. That's what a culture is about. And goddamn it, if kielbasi and that's the other test too. If they don't say kielbasi, go. You're not from around here. That's an eye on the end of it.
You're suspect. Yeah.
That's right. I'm side eyeing you the rest of the night. You were talking before about how the grandfather was a chef. You're talking about Food Network, and fast forward, here you are today, man. And like I always love telling people on the show this, because I think it's crazy how things, especially this show, works out in that, like, I first learned about you from TV, and here we are having this conversation. And yet, if you go back, like for me being a child, it was PBS, Saturday mornings. Other normal kids watched cartoons. I watched Justin Wilson, the Cajun guy, Julia Child, Martin Yan.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up on. And then you're throwing Food Network in the mix. And so
Oh,
obviously, you came from a rich culinary backdrop.
Yeah, but like, without being paraded as that, like I just kind of happened to watch like The Galloping Gourmet and Two Fat Ladies and stuff.
Oh, Two Fat Ladies ruled.
No, it's the best. What's better than two fat British women getting drunk and smoking cigarettes and just fist fucking bacon into like the tiniest birds? It's the best.
That's a party to me. I don't know why we had to have it be a show. That's life. I want that. Bring it to me.
I want it back.
Yes,
I want it back.
I agree. So all that backdrop behind you, who would you say most influenced your decision to go the route you did?
Cooking, you mean?
Yeah.
In general?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if I could say there was like a singular person. I think I'll give you the cliff notes of how this all happened. I wanted to be an artist when I was a kid. I just loved art in general, and drawing and doodling, painting and whatever. And I never went to art school or anything. And then when I got to high school, there was like a decision to make, and I was like, all right, well, I need to do something, and I have to go to high school, and I have to pick a high school, and I wanted to go to this art school. And the art school was like kind of like a magnet school, and I couldn't get in because my grades for math or whatever was, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, so like, I didn't necessarily make the cut. And then it was like, all right, well, it's either, I don't want to go to an all-boys school. Absolutely not. So
sure.
There was a school called Mercy Vocational High School, as you said, thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was telling me I should be an electrician, because by trade, it's not exactly what he does now, but by trade, that's what he did when he was a kid. He was an electrician. And he was like, I could show you everything. I got all the tools. I have all the knowledge. Like, maybe you should think about doing that. I was like, all right, well, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like, I never really paid attention to what he did. I wish I did nowadays,
Sure.
Each guy can build a house, like, I don't know. So, basically, I just remember walking into the kitchen, like, because you had to visit all the shops,
Right.
Like, there was carpentry and electronics and cosmetology and all that shit, and I walk into the kitchen, and it was just like, I don't know, man, shit was on fire, and people were running around, and just chopping, and it was loud, but it was, like, organized, and I was like, this is it, I want to do this, like,
nice.
Immediately, just like, no, there was no question about it. And then I just dove straight in, and then I ended up getting like a job after school at a restaurant, and I was basically working, a part-time job throughout high school at a restaurant. That was it. I was in. I was fully sold.
And you were already with that job, I'm sure, as anybody. Like I've spent a little time in a kitchen. You keep your eyes and ears open. You learn more than you can ever learn anywhere else by just being there in the first place, and then to actually be taking classes formally. That's God.
It's funny because like I had to take my dad. It was funny. My dad had to go with me to convince them that it was okay that I would work there. Like they were like, "Is he going to be all right? Is he going to be like? Is he going to be a bitch? Like, and my dad's like, "No, he's good. You just fucking just wail on him. It's fine." So like, I ended up like taking me in, and like I learned a lot from that job. But yeah, that was it. I was pretty much, and then after that, I decided I was going to go to culinary school in Rhode Island. I wanted to get out of Philly, and I haven't looked back.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
and yeah,
it's been like cooking for like I think it's 17 years now.
That's awesome, man. That's incredible.
Sometimes, and most of the time it is. Sometimes I'm like,
oh sure.
This is hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That goes without saying. And I mean, honest to God, not to not to harken back to the moment, but I mean, the moment was crushing as a viewer when the pieces went together as far as the loin versus the rack on that episode. And it's like those are the things that happen, though, day in and day out, and they will happen, and you have to navigate them. Doesn't matter, if you're chef de cuisine on a reality show. Doesn't matter if you're an e-learning designer developer. Like, you're going to fuck up, and you have to, you have to steer the ship. You got to...
more importantly, you have to fuck up.
Yeah.
Nobody learns anything from fucking winning all the time.
That's right. That's it. Actually, it was episode 30. Chef Neil Fraser from Redbird and Viviana. He did the show, and I'll never forget. All the culinary stuff. I'm sitting fanboying and everything. And there was one question I asked him, and I forget which it was, but he goes, my therapist told me a really important lesson. And I'm like holding my breath. I'm like, shit, where is this going? And he said, it's always important to remember to frame things with not if things go wrong, but when things go wrong.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter your field. Like, I wish I could remember another quote or another, like, tidbit of wisdom from Chef freaking Neil Fraser, but that's what sticks with me. And I think that's...
it's an important lesson. That's what I tell my cooks all the time. I literally just had this conversation the other day where there was a mistake that happened. And maybe it wasn't, at the time, maybe it wasn't the biggest mistake, but if that mistake happened an hour before, an hour after, or maybe a different day, it could have been the most fucking horrible mistake.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. And they're like, well, like, they're getting upset. But listen, you're not getting it through your, like, it's going to get, the things are going to get fucked up. When shit hits the fan, but like, we got to eliminate as many variables for error as possible.
Yep.
And you have to have yourself back, set up for success. You can't just, like, assume everything's going to work out. It's not.
Yeah.
Obviously,
It never will. And if it does, get ready, because lightning's about to strike you and kill you, because that's it. Yeah. That's the end game. That's the out right there. 17 years, all these life lessons, and here you are on my TV. Here I am going, man, that guy's got his shit down. And it's so entertaining.
Really?
Yeah, no, I swear to God, true story.
I'll tell you what, I said the same thing. It's funny, this is like 2 podcasts in a week, I think. I did Packing Knives or whatever. And one of the things they asked me to do it. I wanted to be on. I tried to go on during the show or whatever. They asked me, and it just never happened or whatever. But it's kind of fun. That was the first podcast I did, so actually I'm kind of happy I got it off. It's easier.
There you go.
To get one done, because it's weird. It's kind of weird talking to someone on the phone. Just kind of, But anyway, moving on. The what the hell was I saying? I'm sorry.
Because I said you had your shit together.
Oh, I said between me and you, I came back from the show and I told my wife, I was like, man, they're gonna fucking just drag me. They're gonna fucking hate me. I was like,
no.
Like, everybody kept breaking my balls about not being like, happy or jumping around or whatever, and everybody calling me crazy and like, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I got back and I was like, man, they're gonna. And then actually, the way they edited me, they had their fun, but they did a pretty good job, and I was actually kind of happy with it. And I'm surprised by how many people are like, man, you did so well, you're so great, it's so relatable. And I was like, really?
Well, but see that humility, and that's so many people that I talk to on here. Like, the humility kills me, because I'm like, do you realize, like, you were given a shoelace, a piece of gum, and a dead sewer rat, and you made, like, fucking, I don't know, beef bourguignon out of it. Like, it was just, like, it's so amazing to watch it. And I'm always amazed, too. Like, this is your second podcast. Casey Thompson, I was actually her first podcast she ever done. And I'm like, holy shit, wait a minute. You've been on that show how many times now? No one, so, like... It's this emerging field, and I think it was last year, the Beard Awards, it was the first year they had an award for podcast. So
yeah, I'm very, and I know this is silly, because like, I know the technology's been here, and the format has been around for so long, and I'm just now, because of the show, interested in it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm like, it's just like, I'm very fascinated by it. It's cool. I think it's a great form of media, and it's like, you can find subjects and topics. They're so narrowed down. You know what I mean? It's not like just watching a documentary about numerous things. It's like listening to something you want to hear.
Yeah.
You know? You can like really narrow it down, which I really like it.
Oh, for sure. Really cool. If you haven't checked it out yet, and I have this, speaking of self-deprecation, you and I seem to both do it well. If you haven't checked it out yet, the podcast Serial about the murder case that was never solved.
Okay.
I don't know if you've caught it or not, but it is the most listened to podcast in the world today. And really? I was speaking at a conference, and the keynote was the executive producer of that show, of Serial. And I managed to weasel my way up for a picture with her, and I captioned it, the most listened to podcast and the least listened to podcast in the history of the forum. So, I don't know. Laugh or cry, man. Laugh or cry. So,
no, at least you're doing it, you know? I think it's great.
It's
great.
It's a good time, and I think for the exposure to the subject, to the content. Like, I've done a demo kitchen at Bloomsburg University here, and, I cooked a salad main and after for this group of inner city youth, underprivileged, and, by the end of it, I had 2 kids trying capers out of a jar. And, like, I think if you can do that, and I think if you can do that with a platform, I cheaply plugged during your introduction, which should be about you, the 100th episode, but the 50th episode we did from a local theater, and we raised like $1,500 for the hungry in the area, and
that's awesome.
Shooting to do the same thing here. But I think, if you learn anything, if you watch anything, why not watch something, why not learn something that's going to help what you put in your body and make you enjoy it that much more. My dad kills me all the time because, like, I'll mention what we spent out for dinner. Jesus Christ, that's a mortgage payment. But, like, what else are you going to spend your money on? Things break, things go away. Experiences, they're always with you, man. And as I'm watching your restaurantlaurel.com cycling images, it's making me hungry. It's making me insanely hungry. It is some of the most beautiful imagery I've ever seen. So I can only imagine.
You'll definitely have to check it out.
The next time I am in Yardley for business, I will. I'll make the trip over. I'll take the train in. I've got friends who are over there, and definitely going to come by. So, speaking of that, looking at Laurel, I mean, this is amazing imagery. The 4 images I have on Circle now, I've probably seen at least 100 times. Where are you getting that from? Where do you pull that from? Where does Eddie Konrad go to make these beautiful plates? Well,
it depends. It's all very organic. Like, like if you look at my Instagram, some of the plates, like some of the pictures are like, well, one, I like to take pictures that are from service. I don't do a lot of pre-plating.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the food that you take pictures of is food that's coming off the line. I think that's important. Like seeing, you get what you see. You know what I mean? And the food itself, we just as a team, we might have ideas, or somebody might say something or about something, and like I said, it's ingredient driven. So we're like, all right, what are we going to use now? Like, for instance, I'm working on a swordfish dish. It's on the menu, but I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. And eventually, as the season goes on, we'll tweak it, we'll figure it out, maybe we'll make it a little better, maybe we change the plating, or like maybe it doesn't make sense in a bowl, makes more sense in the plate. Like, a lot of these things are like, they evolve and they keep growing. And that's like one of the hardest things I had on the show is like, a dish is it's not really ever complete, in a half an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
You're just going to make the best rendition of what you're thinking of in your head, and especially at Laurel, and how we work is like, nothing's ever done. And when it is done, and we're like, oh, this dish is awesome, and finished, usually it's gone, and we have to get rid of it, because it's like either A, the end of the season, or B, we're just kind of like bored of it, and like we want to do something different or change things around, and one of the biggest things is making it look as natural as possible. Like we try not to go too over the top with, garnishing and whatever. Just everything has to make sense, and for the plate and for the guests. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it has to be delicious. Like, we can make, fucking crunchy chips and Tweels and whatever and powders and whatever all day. But if it doesn't taste good, then there's no fucking point. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just masturbatory to just throw shit on at microgreen, you know, like all kinds of things. Like, everything we do is for a reason. Even our microgreens are grown for us by somebody in New Jersey, so we don't even buy a ton of them. We only buy the ones we think will work with the food we're doing, you know? So everything is, you know, it's still a work in progress, even after 5 years, but it's still, you know, everything is always being thought about. Are we doing this right? Could we be doing this better? Does this make sense? Like, why are we doing this? You know, are we beating our heads against the wall just to try something, to do something, you know? Like, so, I mean, at the end of the day, that one dish has, you know, so many hours of people thinking about it and touching it, plating it, and, like, you know, talking about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just happen, you know? And you know what? Actually, sometimes it does. Sometimes you're like, I want to put fucking, you know, like, this dish I have on the menu right now is coffee, swordfish, patient stock, smoked swordfish cream, and salted radish. And you're like, it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of fucking sense. And then you're like, you know, oh, and like an urfa butter, which is like a Turkish chili that's been cooked with butter. And you're like, you know, if you really get down and deep down into it, it does make sense because, you know, there are overlaying similarities and flavors. But, like, that was like one of the few dishes that you just kind of throw together, and you're like, holy shit, this really works. And it will change. It will grow. It's not done yet, but, you know, it's just kind of cool. So sometimes you get a home run, you know, but most of the time you're just fucking, you know, trying to get around the bases. And then, you know, every now and then you might get a win, but, you know, it's tough.
No, no question. And you know, that really speaks to the people who, you know, look at food as this, like, science, as this cold, unmovable, you must measure this, must be by the meter. Like, it's art. It's almost, you know, I'd say if you had to break down art versus science, you have to have some science to it. Obviously, you have to know what shit does to what shit. But, like, you know, I'd say it's 75% art, 25% science.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and you need the science part. Any artist that says you don't need the science part is silly, because then you'd have shit paint. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're blending colors. That's visual science, the science of light.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, like, so, like, you know, with at Laurel, it's everything is very much grammed out. Everything is very to the T. When we come up with a recipe, it's all grammed out so we can tweak it. Because if you're just, like, winging it every day, nothing's ever going to taste the same-ish, you know, or if it doesn't taste the same, we can't figure out why. You know, maybe it's the ingredient. Maybe it's something throughout the season it changed, and now it's like, this doesn't taste good. Like, we had a grape and pepper jus, and the grapes are just coming in, they just weren't tasting good. But we couldn't have figured that out unless we had a map of, like, you know, this is what's in the recipe. So we know that it's not this, or this. It's obviously grapes, and then, you know, it's like, there's a need for it. There's a need for, like, controlled chaos. There needs to be, like, strict control because there's so much chaos, you know?
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, I think you nailed it right there with controlled chaos. I think so many creative processes that are worth anything are exactly that. It can't just be straight chaos, otherwise, no.
Because they're all fucked.
Exactly. The kitchen's on fire, everyone's, like, cut open, bleeding out, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Wow, that went dark real quick, didn't it?
Yeah, but you never know.
You never know. You never do know.
It's tough out there.
So, all super organic with regards to your creativity. Obviously, as you shape and you craft Laurel's offerings, of which I truly now cannot wait. Like, I'm going to volunteer tomorrow. I'm going to be like, hey, boss, would you mind if I drove down to Yardley for, like, the week? They're going to be like, why? Why are you so interested? I'm like, I was just, Eddie Conrad, thinking about going to Laurel. Wow, it's remarkable. And for folks in and around the area looking to have what looks to be just an incredible evening out, restaurantlaurel.com, 1617 East Passyunk Avenue. Another evidence that you're from Pennsylvania. You can pronounce half of the shit we name things after. Passyunk. What is a Passyunk? I don't know.
What is Passyunk mean? In the valley.
Oh God, you knew that. You're legit, man. You're straight up Pennsylvania.
Well, we didn't name them these things. We stole these bands, you know?
Yeah. That's right. I hear there were people living in the apartment before we moved in. So there is that.
Quite a bit, actually.
Before anyone's getting ass hurt over that, I've got that part to me, so I can make fun. I can poke fun. It's fun. So as you're making these incredible creations that I'm just watching cycle again and again, obviously you've got your finger on the pulse of the food industry, food trends, and we see trends come, we see trends go. What's an up and coming trend that you feel is going to influence the industry?
One thing that I've been saying for a long time is I think that we need to stop trying to find the newest, coolest thing and just kind of over-focus on what we have, And I know that sounds kind of cliche, and it may, Noma obviously did something like that in that style, but I mean, in generally speaking, just kind of like a homesteading kind of I'm trying to. There's no real hot word for it, but I'm just over focusing on what we have, and it's tough because I wish at Laurel we were just doing everything from Pennsylvania as much as we could, at least, or some kind of radius, that we could map out and figure out what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Just pushing to do newer and cooler things with the things we already have. I think that's important. And dealing with the farmers markets. I mean, it's all so cliche, but you really try to keep all your money in town if you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also utilizing as much as you can too is important. And that has a lot to do with customer education, which is tremendous nowadays. Now you put duck hearts on the menu and it's not weird.
Yeah. No, I was actually just going to go down that route. One of my earlier guests who has an establishment here in Bloomsburg, if you're ever in the area, sir, check it out. It's called The Blind Pig. It's on Iron Street, and it is legitimate farm to table, everything they source from a 50-mile radius. And
that's awesome.
They're fantastic people. They're going to be on stage for the 100th. They're going to come up and join us, and it was one of the first moments I had head cheese given to me where it didn't absolutely repulse me, to be honest. Quick story. Toby is this big strapping farmer dude, and he's also the chef, and he rolls out of the back because we had done the show, and it was 6 months later. He walks out with a small plate and he puts it in front of me, and he said, "This is from a pig I slaughtered just a couple of days ago. He was very special to me. This is head cheese." And he walks away, and I'm I'm half Silence of the Lambs. I'm well, if I don't fucking eat this, I'm going to be in the basement getting lotion thrown down to me. And, I looked at it, and it looked absolutely beautiful, absolutely radiant. And I put it in my mouth. I'm that's head cheese. That's phenomenal. It was one of the best bites I've ever eaten. And he ended up just doing a tongue tacos at the restaurant. So really using all of that supply.
Yeah, and that's and at the end of the day too, and I'm realizing it's the older I get as a chef, is that when I truly believe in something or an ingredient, you go out of your way, to make it better. It makes you better because you want to be better for it.
Yes.
And that's something that I continuously keep learning, and not just in the realm of food either too, just expanding your knowledge of so many different things. For instance, I'll give you a quick story. We get our ducks from a farm called Butts County Bounty. These ducks are grown, killed, fed 100% Pennsylvania. So when this lady approached me, I did everything in my power to get her in the restaurant. And we worked for a while and we built this relationship, and finally we get her in there. And these things are beautiful. She dry ages them for us. They're just the most beautiful ducks. They're stellar. And we try to use. We have this duck. We're getting these whole ducks. We're not wasting a fucking thing because these ducks have been through so much. These people cared so much. We've been to the farm. We've held the chicks. You can't waste a single thing. We use all the innards and things for ferments and garums, and then we put the hearts and stuff next door at the bar to eat salad. For duck heart salads, and all the bones are turned into stock. And I actually started making soap with all the leftover fat.
I saw that. That was fucking awesome, man. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, so that's like one thing that like it's just. But that's what I'm saying. It's not in the realm of cooking, but it's also still kind of like so. At the end of the day, if you come in the restaurant, like I haven't been able to produce enough to give it to everybody, but I have like 200 bars kicking around, so I'll go out to the table and give it to the guests and be like, just so you know, that duck, this is the soap made from that duck, and it's all relative, like even though I didn't cook something, it's still important, like still made something.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Absolutely, and that's why, not to sidestep for a minute, but I'm sure you encounter this nonstop. It's like, well, how can you eat the animal when you raised it? That's all the more reason to treat it with that level of respect, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Because you're raising it for food. You're not raising it for a pet.
Right.
And like if you're going to be a carnivore and if you're going to eat meat, and then listen, I'm not on a high horse here. Like obviously, I'm still just as guilty as the rest of the world in some capacity. But like at the end of the day, you should at least have seen something die. Like I went to saw cows get slaughtered. Long story short, we were going to cook a cow at Lebec Finn for this farmer, and she invited us to the kill. And, like, you should see it. I mean, it's real. It's the most real it can be. And if you're going to eat meat, you need to know that's what happens. So, like, you need to know, or at least think about it, that when you eat something from somewhere that you know that animal was treated poorly, you should know in the back of your head. You should have some sort of idea of what's going on. And I think that the more and more people start feeling for it, instead of like either shunning it completely, not that I have any issue with people that are vegan and stuff, but like, at the end of the day, it's like, we're not going to stop eating these animals.
Right.
Everybody needs to focus on making sure they're being better taken care of, and like they're getting what they're supposed to get, instead of just being like either shunning meat or just like mass producing. There's no in between right now,
Yeah.
And it's getting there, and there's farms that are trying, and there's chefs and everybody who are taking this interest in it. And I just think as a food trend, going back, going full circle, like as a food trend, I think everybody needs to start caring more about their food.
Damn right.
And not in this cliche farm to table way, just understanding it, caring about it, reading about it, like just thinking about it,
Well, that's just it. That's just, I can't tell you how many people have like either come into my kitchen or wherever I'm at, and like I have a cookbook with me, and I open a cookbook instead of reading a book. You see what I did there? It rhymes. But like to me, God, I'd rather have my face buried in 100 cookbooks than anything else, because like what better way? And here again, this goes back to why I even decided to do a fucking show, is that what better purpose is there than to know about what you're putting in your body? Because that cruelty, if the animal is being raised inhumanely, et cetera, is going to come full circle, because it's not the same quality. It's not the same standard that you will get elsewhere.
Everything is what you put into it. It
exactly.
Really is. Like, the more you put into it, the better you're going to get out of it.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm not sitting here. I'm not gonna try to ride around the horse carrying a flag or anything. But like, at the very least, people need to just be more aware of it.
Absolutely.
Because like, and I think that it's happening. I think that the customer, it's happening with the customer. It's happening with the cooks. But it has to go. Maybe even goes back even more of a full circle. It goes back to like, instead of these like, hard pressed, ideas and like ideologies that everybody's like over focusing on, it just needs to melt back into a whole of everybody caring about their shit.
Yep.
Instead of like being like, this is from the table, this is fucking ingredient, this is it. No, it's just everybody should care more about their food in general. Like it's like, just like everything is going to sink back together.
Yeah.
And just one wholehearted idea.
Yeah, no question. I think it's going to be Shawn Rosler, Eddie Konrad, and Gritty taking it on a road show, and we're just going to beat it into people. We're going to beat it into people. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, that would be. I would love to ride in the car with Gritty.
There you go.
Anywhere. I went to my first Flyers game. So long. I can't remember the last time I was at a Flyers game. I usually go to Phillies games or Eagles games or whatever, but I ended up getting tickets, and Gritty was there, and I don't know if I've ever smiled as big as I smiled, and he was like, dude, There's a picture. I think it's on my Instagram. There's a picture
I think it is too. Hang on, I'm gonna stalk you momentarily and find out.
He's behind me like 5 rows, and it looks like I've been spotted and I'm food.
Oh, dude, he's behind you. He's not 5 rows. You're practically giving him like an ass pat by the reach of it. Like,
oh yeah, but there's another photo. I'll post it in my. I gotta send it to you. It's like. It literally looks like I'm being hunted. It's amazing.
Yeah, folks, if you're looking for Chef Eddie on the Insta, EW Konrad, EWK Konrad, EWKONRAD.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Everybody sells in the suit.
Absolutely. So we talked about what the next big thing is. And so, and we started to get a little acidic, a little negative. I think that's the Pennsylvania coming out in us, and that's fine.
I can't always be happy.
Let's go farther down that tunnel for a second. What's a trend that is like trendy, very popular, that you are ready to see die a fiery, flaming death?
You know, there's so many things. You know? I don't.
Yes. Yes.
It's truly a difficult question. It really is. I don't even know if I can answer it.
And that's the most Pennsylvania answer to that. Yeah, that's a really difficult question. What? The people you hate the most?
Because I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I really need to think that one through. I might have to do it. We might have to do another show.
We'll do episodes. Fuck it. I'll come down. We'll do it live from Laurel. I think that sounds like a...
Eddie gets drunk and talks about what he hates.
Hey! That's the new name of the show. I'm doing a whole new show now. Eddie gets drunk and says what he hates.
No, I mean, I guess... I don't know. I don't really know. Yeah, it's a tough one. I really need to think about that. I got sideswiped by that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And, kind of the same way. It's like, how do you narrow it down? Maybe it is. Maybe it's this cold climate that makes us this bitter. But I'm like, God, there's a lot of shit I'd love to see go away.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. That's like, you really stumped me. I don't know why.
All right. No, that's good. That's good. I'll take a stump. All
the rates got bottlenecked right before my mouth, I guess. So
it's like trying to get on the turnpike at 5 p.m. Oh, there's another Pennsylvania local joke. So what's next for Eddie, man? Like, you're living the dream. You're kicking ass, taking names. But what's next? What's around the corner?
I mean, I don't know, man. I truly want to do my own thing. It's something I feel as if it's what you kind of get into this to do, but it's like, being an overthinker and all this stuff, like it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. One, because I'm fucking broke and whatever. But two is more like it's got to feel right,
Yeah.
And at Laurel, it's been tough to leave Laurel. Considering I was only supposed to be there for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And every year there was something else going on. I was like, I gotta stick around. And I came back to Philly to do this because it was unique and nobody else was doing anything like it. And it was the reason why I left New York City. I was like, fuck it. I want to go back. I miss home. My wife misses Philly. She fell in love with it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do this with you, Nick. And then, and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't felt like the same restaurant every year. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes total sense.
So I've been just kind of there, not stuck in a bad way by any stretch of imagination, but yeah, I mean, eventually I want to do my own thing. It has to feel right, and I have to just, I'm just looking around and waiting for that opportunity. And we'll see how it goes. There's been things here and there, just nothing has clicked yet, but hopefully sooner than later I'll have my own team, and all I really want to do is get people in the door, sit down, and try my best to make them happy.
There you
That'd
go.
Be my,
That's what's at the core of it, man. That's it.
So
I'm just gonna say 2 words here: Polish tapas. Right?
Which is not a bad idea.
All right, so it's been recorded that I am at least 50% partner here. I just want to go on record.
Yeah. I mean, we got to call it something else, but it needs a little workshopping. But yeah, we can work with that.
What's the Polish word for tapas? I don't know. Cool, man. So, I mean, again, future looks bright. We'll transition into the last couple questions here in the afters. Again, a little bit more irreverent, a little bit less serious. So here we go.
Yeah, I just start rambling. I'm going to apologize for that right off the bat.
No. Listen.
The last one.
You and I need to hang out. Seriously, the conversation wouldn't stop. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, I was like, hey, should I stop talking? They're like, no, you're good. I'm like, are you sure?
Keep going.
I kind of went off on a rant there. I don't even know if I don't even know. What are we talking about?
Why am I angry? God damn it. It's not even football season.
Why am I pacing?
Exactly. All right, here goes. I'm standing in your kitchen, and you can pick whether it's professionally or at home. What music do I hear?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question?
Sure. I'm standing in your kitchen. You can pick whether it's professional or at home. Yeah, at Laurel or at home.
Gotcha.
What music am I hearing?
All right, so professionally, no music in the kitchen.
Cool.
So that's out, and the reason being is that you need to hear everything that's going on. Me personally, and
totally
also
agree.
Not everybody agrees with everybody else's musical choice. And for me, somebody who loves music so much, you put something on I don't like, it's really gonna actually alter my mood. You know?
Sure. Yeah, totally.
So before you think I'm just like some kind of weird asshole, that's the reason. Two, at home, it really depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
My go-tos while I'm cooking in the kitchen at home would be, it varies. Like, for instance, today I was listening to Arcade Fire's Suburbs.
Nice.
I tend to rotate through like Interpol.
Dude.
You know, old I like rock and roll. Like Queens of the Stone Age is a huge go-to for me.
Yes.
If like nobody's at the house, I'm a huge fan of Cody and Cambria, but that's only my wife doesn't like them, so I have to listen to them when I'm alone.
You gotta make sure the kids aren't around, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
I'm with
stuff like that. I'm kind of a musical moving target. Like
no,
I don't like country at all.
Fair.
I have a hard time with that, and outside of that, I'm pretty much fair game. But that doesn't, just because I don't like country doesn't mean that I don't like bluegrass and folk, and you know. So
dude,
there's
fucking same, man. Same. I'm a massive bluegrass fan, but don't tell me your tractor's sexy or I'll punch it. Like
no, I do not like that. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm gonna go hard pass.
We get hard pat Letterkenny? Hard pass?
Yeah, exactly.
Pitter patter. All right, next one up. You're going to be stranded on a deserted island, and you can only take 3 foods or food-type items with you. Inexhaustible supply by some way of magic or something.
Okay.
What would they be?
First one's going to be salt.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, salt so I can cure things and do that whole thing. All right, food. 3 things. I guess rice. You know, if it's magic, I might as well just bring good rice.
Yeah.
And assuming, and it's a food item.
Yeah.
All right. It doesn't matter what it is, huh?
No, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, kibasi.
The most reckless. I love it.
Well, because like I have, the two things. The rice makes sense. I can do a lot of things with rice. I could. There's a lot you can do with rice, and then salt, obviously. I could feed myself for a month on fish and stuff like that by curing and all that shit and smoking. But then, yeah, I mean, if it's magic, I might as well just have like a stack of kibasi kicking around.
Stack of kibasi, that's it, man.
I can even use that to lure things in and hunt them,
Oh my God,
there's a reason for it.
You'd be luring Eagles fans. They'll come out of the water.
I go to a desert island and be a cannibal.
Awesome. Hey, have you had the chance ever to check out the book My Last Supper by Melanie Denea?
I have not.
You have not. I recommend it highly. I'll personally text you the link to it on Amazon. It's worth the pickup. It's awesome. She's a fantastic photographer, and she did a series of famous chefs, and she put them in this book, 50 of them, with the same questions centered around the old late-night culinary professional game. what's your last meal? And so I ask you,
cool.
Chef Eddie, your last meal. What is it? What would you eat? What would you drink? Who would be there? What music? Go.
Man, that is a tough one. I mean, I guess I would just go with like the thing that makes quick fire answer.
Yeah.
Would probably be kishka seared in a nonstick pan, crazy hot horseradish, crazy hot mustard, 2 eggs fried over easy.
What does that say that I just wrote OE and circled it? I might have worked breakfast before. All right, go ahead. Fuck. I didn't even realize I did it until I did it. I'm like, wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, fried onions. So it'd be like fried onions, 2 eggs over easy, pan-seared kishka, ripping hot horseradish and mustard. I mean, I don't know if my answer would change based on thinking about that answer more.
No, don't let it. Let that impulse work.
But that's like one of the plates that makes me the most happy.
Goddamn right. Yeah, and it's simplistic. It calls all the way back to your childhood. You know?
I mean,
kishka. God damn, that's fantastic. Might be the first time kishka was ever mentioned as part of the Last Supper. That's phenomenal. That's
maybe you might be right, dude. I don't know. There's not a lot of people even know what the hell it is.
Oh my God! There's open the goddamn, like, here I am leading up to the last question. I'm totally like pulling off at the rest stop to talk about Polish food again. But god damn it, like, wake up! This is uncharted territory. I really think that's your niche, man. Wow.
You think so?
I think you'd slaughter it. I think you would slaughter it. And again, we would have the Eddie Gets Drunk and Talks About People he hates. We would have that as a side podcast that we could profit share there, but it'd be good.
A whole empire. I could make Polish food all day and be happy.
There you go.
And get wrecked and get miserable and still make money off of it.
You know who I hate, and it's almost like therapy. It's just like therapy.
Exactly.
Oh, all right. Finally, last question. The shortest question, the simplest question, yet the most complex. What is food to you in a single word?
Everything.
Love it. Love it.
I can't stress that enough. I owe everything to it.
Yeah. I mean,
my family, my house, my everything. If you really boil down everything I have or am or have done, it all really boils down to a chef knife.
The end.
And food.
The end. You know? The end. And I'm telling you, I oftentimes say it throughout the show, I'll be sure to check it out. I'll be sure to come visit you, Laurel in Alaska, which I swear to God, I'm going to come up there eventually. Please don't mark me a liar. But, Eddie, you're down the road from me, man. And I've got to come and check out Laurel, 1617 East Passyunk in Philly.
Hey, even if you're in town, you're in the area, just hit me up and you grab a beer or something.
Absolutely. There's no question.
Whatever the time is, whatever. So.
The next time I'm in, I was in Yardley just this past week. I'm not sure when the next time is, but I'm going to make sure to pad some days in there, and let's talk Polish blood sausage and other why the other 49 states suck. Was that out loud? Shit, that was out loud. So, again, Chef, I cannot thank you enough. Laurel Restaurant, 1617 East Passyunk Avenue, Philadelphia, PA 19148. Call 215-271-8299 for more information, or go to restaurantlaurel.com to check them out. And be sure to follow my good buddy Chef Eddie Konrad on the Insta, on the Books of Face, and all that stuff. And, again, I think, stay tuned, because I think Polish tapas are going to take off here shortly. If I was a betting man, Polish tapas is the way we go. Yeah. So, Eddie, again, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. It was an absolute pleasure. And thanks for wanting to ask me questions. It's nice.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have someone answer them, because otherwise that would be really awkward. So
yeah, that would have been a weird 45 minutes.
That would have been. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 96 of the Coarse Podcast. With me again this evening, the indomitable Chef Eddie Konrad. Our producer this evening has been the voluptuous and lovely Johnny Leland Robinson, a.k.a. the Reverend Johnny Lamoria. Be sure to check out everything steampunk, erotica, and cinematic in the 18431 by his hands. And next episode will be 97. Who knows what's going to come, but I think it might involve Top Chef and Kentucky. I'm not sure, so stay tuned.